After the mighty battles of the Garmer, a skirmish that will forever be known among my comrades and me as the Battle of the Garmer on the roofs, we took a short rest amidst the corpses of our fallen foes atop the nearest building. We thought ourselves rather clever for taking advantage of the height, though in hindsight, perhaps we were too pleased with our own ingenuity. We took a moment to mourn the loss of Temperance, who fell in battle in a completely unavoidable manner. Poor soul. Krukerick and I were soon reminded, in the most brutal way possible, that important things should never be forgotten. Important things like the fact that we are being hunted by gargoyles. Yes, gargoyles. Life had moved on, and in our temporary relief, we had foolishly let our guard down. I still wish I could forget them again. Unfortunately, Krell and I paid the price for our lapse in memory. The creatures swooped down upon us from all directions, merciless and relentless. Though our defense was valiant, and our comrades did all they could to aid us, the gargoyles lifted both Krell and me into the sky before dropping us from terrifying heights. Like sacks of potatoes, we plummeted to the ground. My next conscious moment was with Tegrin kneeling beside me, likely having just cast some healing magic. A true friend, that one. It's not the first time he saved me from the brink, and I doubt it will be the last. Then again, I've pulled him back from the jaws of death a few times myself. I'd like to think we share a good bond. There was no time for sentiment, though. Our party was exhausted, depleted of spells and resources, and those gargoyles could return at any moment. We ran back to town as fast as our battered bodies could carry us. The flicker and hiss of shadows behind us kept our nerves on edge, but by some divine grace they never quite caught up. Upon returning, there was only one thing left to do: sleep. The next morning, we made our way to the Skull and Sword Tavern to meet with Mel. Well, most of us. Tal outright refused to be anywhere near Blackjack Mel, which honestly I completely understand. I'd rather avoid him myself, but I have this nagging suspicion that Samuel wouldn't give me the full picture if I relied on him alone for information. Mel, ever the charming bastard, handed us copies of the research papers, but specifically to Tegrin, despite my best efforts to snatch them first. What a dick. Alas, at least Mel is reliable at crime, and at least this crime is against a malfeasant wizard. My moral compass is spinning a bit, but I think overall things are headed in the right direction. We left Mel, and after a brief debate over which faction is the least trustworthy, a truly endless argument, we set off to see River with the forged research papers. We skimmed them before handing them over, but beyond recognizing them as research notes, we couldn't glean much from them. River paid us, albeit far less than expected, though she also gave us a magical pearl. I suspect it holds significant value, so we'll call it a win. Naturally, we returned to Mel to split the reward, gold only, of course. As usual, he seemed to know everything about everything, probably including the pearl, though he let it slide for now. He offered Krell an opportunity to fight in an arena, promising it would be profitable. Shady, of course, but Krell will make his own decision on that matter. So far, my dealings with Blackjack Mel haven't forced me to do anything too sacrilegious, and it must stay that way. I fear that if it ever came to that, I'd find myself at an impasse with some of my companions. After that sleazy meeting, we reconvened with Tal and filled him in on the latest developments, even showing off our shiny new pearl. We asked him to send word to the Hooded Lanterns in Drakkenheim about what we had learned regarding Oscar Joran and his potion dealings. He relayed the message through the local unit. At long last, my companions finally saw the wisdom in seeking guidance from the church. We met with Flamekeeper Hannah, and as I anticipated, when I voiced my suspicions about Oscar Joran's necromantic dabblings, she formally charged me with bringing him down. More broadly, I was reminded of my duty to oppose and slay malfeasant wizards whenever I encounter them, a righteous and reasonable decree. And Joran isn't the only known malfeasant wizard in Drakkenheim. There are two others. One is called the Pale Man, a lovely name surely, and the other Ryan Greymere. One thing at a time, though. For now, I'll keep gently or not so gently nudging my companions toward aiding me in slaying Oscar at the first opportunity. So far, my gentle nagging seems to be wearing them down into venturing down the righteous path, though reluctantly at times. In the meantime, Hannah tasked us with another mission. Dwarves based at the Red Lion Inn are mining delirium at the Scar, an activity the church wishes to put an end to one way or another. It sounds simple, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that nothing in this city is straightforward. Other factions likely have their own stakes in this. Given that it involves delirium, I wouldn't be surprised if offers start rolling in from all directions, and once again, I expect to find myself at odds with my comrades. They often fail to see the importance of aligning with the church, placing little value on their own souls over the gleam of gold and trinkets offered by other factions. Unfortunate. But I remain steadfast. If I keep pressing the issue, the right path will become clear to them. Hopefully, I can get us moving on this task before other factions muddy the waters with their temptations. For now, however, we decided to tackle a simpler lead: rumors that the Black Ivory Inn was back in operation. We split up to gather information, only to learn, unsurprisingly, that Mel had the answers. His uncle, Big Mike, was the owner of the Black Ivory Inn. Mel mentioned a smuggler tunnel in the basement that supposedly leads to the inner city, and he offered us a reward if we could confirm whether it was still there. He also provided a rough location on our map. The main floor of the inn reportedly had a kitchen, a bathhouse, a dining room, and about half a dozen rooms upstairs. There was also a wine cellar, and the tunnel was in the back. Mel made one personal request. If we found Big Mike alive, we were to let him know that Mel had survived when the meteor fell. If we found him dead, we were to bring back a memento. One thing I will say about Mel: he pays well, and money is a useful tool necessary to further the goals of the church. With our objectives set, my companions and I gathered our supplies and prepared for the road ahead. We won't have to venture too deep into the city, but who knows what awaits us at the inn itself. With luck, we'll emerge with some profit, a viable path into the inner city for use in the future, and another reward from Mel. Let's hope. Let's hope.